In false ego, you think, I am way superior. Ego also feels I am right, but false ego feels only I am right. Ego would still leave room for two truths to exist. And that is the reason why ego can be in conflict with other opposing viewpoints. But false ego is never in conflict. It is always at war. His question is how to catch the ego trap. In fact, just a few days ago, I was speaking with Mata Rani, and she was asking me, which is the most powerful vikara out of the 10 afflictions, kam, krodh, lobh, moh, ahankar, ityadi. And I told her, ahankar. Ego is the most powerful affliction. Because the problem with ego is, it blinds you. It robs your conscious thinking, your ability to discriminate or discern. Like, it takes away your discerning wisdom. But ego is also very necessary. It is part of your individual existence. It is necessary to stay grounded and to have that faith and conviction in yourself that I can do this, or I am going to do this, or I am going to attempt this. From that perspective, ego is necessary. Ego is important. Now, is this a trap? I think, there is a commonly term used, false ego. The difference between ego as in existence and ego as in false ego is quite fundamental, and is as follows. Ego realizes that there is something separating you from the divine truth. That between your soul and the Supreme Soul, there is some kind of a division somewhere. Ego makes you realize that I am different from somebody else, and they may be in pain, but if I'm not feeling that pain, that is ego. I still have not realized the interconnectedness and interdependent nature of everything there is. In false ego, you think, I am way superior. Ego also feels I am right, but false ego feels only I am right. Ego would still leave room for two truths to exist. And that is the reason why ego can be in conflict with other opposing viewpoints. But false ego is never in conflict. It is always at war. False ego is so convinced about its own superior existence that it is out there to annihilate and decimate any other opposing force. Now, how to avoid this trap? I think reflecting on the impermanent nature of this world, reflecting on our own humble beginnings and the times when we were calling out to God or to that supreme power, and something helped us, will help us realize that we too are a seeker. We too are a beggar. And I think there is this very famous story I have shared. It actually happened, apparently. So Akbar was once going incognito at night, and somehow the word got out, and some people who meant him harm started chasing him. Somehow he took shelter in one of these guys' place, and he was a simple saint. So in the morning when Akbar was leaving, he gave him his ring. He said, bring this to the palace and you will be amply rewarded. He said, I am Akbar. And the saint thought, this Sufi saint thought, okay, that's not a bad deal. Maybe one day I'll go. And he went to the palace one day. He was stopped at the gates. He showed the ring and he was let through and through. And he was asked to wait in Diwan-e-Khas, which was his kind of private chambers. And he said, where is Akbar? I mean, some time has passed. Where is the king? He had told me, you come anytime and I'll see you. And I've come at any time, but he is not seeing me. And they said, look, he's doing ibadat. He's doing his prayers. Praying to whom? They said, that's almost blasphemous. What do you mean praying to whom? Praying to God, the one who gives everything. And the saint goes, keep this ring, I'm going. This, well, you don't want to meet him? He said, he's also begging from somebody else. I'll also beg from the same entity. I don't need a king to give me the riches of the world, nor do I seek any. So one way to get rid of the, to break the chains of ego, because it is actually like that. It has really chained an individual, false ego. It takes away your freedom, even though you are thinking, I am very free. And here you used a beautiful word, trap. You are in a trap and you're roaming around freely in that, but that's because the frog hasn't seen outside the well the beautiful ocean that awaits him. Poor thing, can't even swim in the ocean anyway, but that's a separate matter. So one way to break that trap is to realize, to reflect on the impermanent nature of the world, and to realize that you are part of the Supreme Soul, and that right now, through this flute, that Krishna is creating beautiful music, but nobody is to say when a crack will appear in the bamboo and it would no longer produce that mellifluous sound, when it would cease to be a flute. So that reflection helps on going beyond the shackles of ego. Or as Ramana Maharishi would say, reflecting on who am I? Constant, that okay, I'm feeling this thing, I'm feeling bad, or I'm feeling good, I'm feeling euphoric, or I'm feeling down, but who is me? Who is that person who's feeling those things? And that deep contemplation would lead you to some remarkable way of looking at life. And I shared with you during the days of intense sadhana, when I would be sitting and my body, my knees would be under excruciating, stabbing pain, I would ask myself, who in me is feeling this pain? Is it the body? If it's the body, and then if I was administered with anesthesia, would this body still feel the pain? So it's not just the body or the body only, or the body at all. It's something else. And what that thing is, reflecting on that nature will help you. So it's almost like if you want to turn it into an actionable item, you could say for the next 1 month or a couple of months, every day I'm going to set aside 5 to 10 minutes just asking myself this question, who am I, or am I not a part of the Supreme Soul? Reflecting on those times when you were helped by somebody or by the Supreme Soul. Many years ago, I shared this story with you. There was a guy in absolute rags. He was dressed and he was going from door to door looking for a job. And he stopped at a shop. And this was a jewelry shop. And he said, look, can I Can you give me some work? I'll do any work. And you don't have to pay me. You just have to give me some food every day and just give me any roof under which I can sleep. I don't even need a room to myself. And that jeweler thought, okay, there's no harm in giving this guy a chance. So he gave him a chance. He started sweeping the floors, and then he was very, very sharp and very honest. And he quickly grew through the ranks, and he was given his own room. Eventually, he became an bookkeeper for that jeweler. So he knew all his secrets and everything else. But other people got jealous of him. It happens when somebody is bright in a group. There are a lot of people who are jealous, and they're always bringing you stories about that individual that make you question that person, even when they are doing a fabulous job at whatever it's been assigned to them. So when you hear a lie long enough or repeatedly, you start to kind of believe in it. So everybody said to him, he's got a box in his room, and we can guarantee you, they said to the owner, jeweler, that this guy is stealing from you. And he'll leave any day. He's hoarding, and he doesn't let anybody see that box. We know there's a chest in his room, and he's hiding things there. So the jeweler ignores it a few times, but one day he decides to confront. He breaks open the lock, and this boy with him in tow, and he said, look, open that chest. He said, please, I can't open this chest. And everybody was around him at that time. He said, please. He said, no, I order you to open this chest, or I'll do it myself and you'll be kicked out. It's open, the trunk, that box is opened. And in the box, all it had was tattered shoes and clothes. He's startled, tosses, turns, checks the box, everything is empty. He says, why would you store something like this? I was told you're storing my jewelry and money in it. You were stealing. He said, you are my owner. You gave me food, you gave me shelter when I had nothing. So I look at this box, I open this box every day before I go to bed. And so I don't forget where I actually belonged one time. So this keeps me grounded, he said. This reminds me every day that this was my truth, this was my reality, before you decided to take me on and help me. And so I can always remain loyal to you, so I may always remain truthful to you. So reflecting on our past, unless it was a glorious past and now it's otherwise, even that actually is a good blow to one's ego. So it helps us then remember where we actually belong, what is our truth, and what is our reality. Because it's so easy to forget that once you are rolling in money, once you see a glimpse of the material opulence of this world, it is so easy. It's not just so easy, it is almost a given. You will feel so invincible, so powerful, as if you've done everything. You have, but not everything. And a lot of the things had to be in place at the right time for you to be where you are today, even if you become very successful and wealthy. And it's always moving. Today you may have X, tomorrow you'll have X minus 10 or X into 10, nobody knows. But if your anchor is solid, you will weather the choppy seas without much trouble at all. You'll feel a little seasick, you will throw up a few times, but you won't end up at Kake the hotel.